Well, good morning, everyone. It's not that cold in Florida, though I'm wearing a jacket. It's like 58 degrees, but that's, that's wintertime for us. Good morning, welcome. Sitting in front of the coffee shop, and so I'm in front of a pizza restaurant that's closed, next door to another restaurant that's next door to Starbucks. And in front of Starbucks, there's a homeless man sleeping on the sidewalk. But, if you're going to be homeless, Florida is the best place to be homeless because it's warmer here than it is up north. So I put this in the title about Lauren Boebert apologizing to Omar. She's in big trouble now. She is in big trouble. And I'm a huge fan of Lauren Boebert. I know you guys are too. I think she's completely awesome. But she is new to public life. And one of the first things you've got to tell conservatives when they enter public life is, well, we'll talk about the apology in a minute, but one of the first things you have to tell conservatives when they first enter public life is never apologize to the left. Now, in my personal life, I apologize all the time if I do something, but you cannot apologize to the left, because the way the left take that is not as an apology, but as a confession of your crimes, right? They take it as an indictment against you and your whole life, and it also is a major concession that you're willing to deal with them, and you're done after that. I made the mistake of apologizing to someone once on the air, and something happened on the air with someone, and this was a long time ago, many years ago, and I apologized to them not because I felt I did anything wrong. I didn't. But they were so hurt and so upset that I apologized to them. They told me to F myself, F off, go F myself, and they wanted an on-the-air apology every hour of the show for a day. I couldn't believe. I didn't do anything wrong. I was trying to make someone feel better. I felt bad. That was it. That was the last time for me. And what Lauren Boebert did was quite possibly, and this upsets me to say this with her apology, this could be the beginning of the end of her political career, because they're going to target her now because they know she's weak, and they got her. And the confession, when I say that an apology, they take it as a confession. What had happened was she made a joke about getting into an elevator with Ilhan Omar. You guys can go look it up online and hear the whole joke. So what her apology has done to them, they take that as, well, she is acknowledging that she's a Islamophobe. So she is a confessed Islamophobe. It doesn't mean she's no longer a bigot. She's still a bigot. She just has admitted it to us, and we can't have bigots around. So she is going to be, and here we are, right? Next year's an election year. The entire House of Representatives is up every 2 years. They're going to have a lot of effort against her. So I would say chances are this is sadly the beginning of the end of Lauren Boebert's political career. You cannot apologize to these people. And not only that, she apologized, and then they start going after her for other things she said already. And Jim Acosta had a whole 9-10 minute segment on this. And she then made a joke about Mayor Pete, which was very funny. I thought her Mayor Pete joke was funny. I thought her other joke was funny. So now that she apologized for the Ilhan Omar joke, now they're starting to go after her as a homophobe with a very funny joke about Mayor Pete and paternity leave. That's how it works. Well, good morning, everyone. Make sure that you like the video, subscribe if you're new here. My coffee is hot today. Last Saturday it was like room temperature when they gave it to me. And they spelled my name right. That's good. Last week, for some reason, they spelled Brian with a Y. Before I came here, I stopped off at Taco Bell. I don't know why, I drove by Taco Bell, and I was craving tacos. So I went to Taco Bell, but they don't open until 7. So no tacos. Beautiful sunrise here. Oh my goodness. Let me show you guys the sunrise. Hold on. What is it here? Yeah. See the sunrise? Very nice. There's Richie driving by in his bus. Rome, Wisconsin, good morning, good morning. Hey, Nick. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's a nice sunrise. 27, oh my goodness. I don't really need the jacket. It's not as cold as I thought. I looked at the weather and I accidentally had my weather on my app on Orlando. Oh man, but no, Lauren Boebert. That's so they've already gotten. She apologized for the Islamophobic a charge they made against her. Now they're calling her a homophobe with this very funny Mayor Pete joke about paternity leave, and now they're going to go back into everything Lauren Boebert said. And that's it. She's going to be done. You know, and we have our own conservative squad, right? Boebert. Who's in our squad? We got Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you know, Matt Gaetz, you know, and they went after Matt Gaetz pretty hard, and he weathered it. I've been up since 3 a.m. You know, it's just a little bit after 6. Or maybe 3:30. 3 or 3:30 I woke up today. I've been reading the news, watching the news. I watched a really good video this morning from Candace Owens on PragerU. Do you guys all follow PragerU on YouTube? You definitely should. PragerU has such great content, and she has a new video, Candace Owens, on PragerU that is absolutely amazing about the Democrats' modern day slave plantation for blacks, and she does a very good compare and contrast between the Democrats and their treatment of blacks today to the way they treated blacks during the days of slavery, and it was just absolutely amazing. I think it's the newest video on PragerU, certainly the newest one from Candace Owens on PragerU. If you hear someone clearing their throat, this is a very rare occurrence. There's a homeless person sleeping on the sidewalk down here. And this is, I'm in Parkland, which is a snooty, rich area, and curious to see if the cops run him off. We'll see. We shall see. Oh man, I tell you. But the coffee's good in the morning. It's my first coffee. I was out of coffee at home. Only had decaf. So I was jonesing for some coffee this morning. But if you get a chance, check out this latest Candace Owens video on PragerU. It was absolutely amazing. She's very, very good. She's very, very good. I wish that she wasn't with Ben Shapiro, but she's very good. Hey, Katina, good morning, everyone. Now, if you know the name of the person I'm talking about, please, they have asked that we don't put their name in the YouTube chat about this. You know, and I've been talking to you guys this week that one of our chat room family here is in the hospital with COVID, and they still are in the hospital. Please don't say their name if you know who I'm talking about. But they are still in the hospital on oxygen, with an oxygen mask, not a nasal cannula. And they've not been moved to intensive care. They have been in the regular hospital bed on oxygen and have not changed. The condition's been the same for 3 days, maybe 4, but I think 3 days. So we haven't been able to talk to them because they can't use their phone, but my wife Kathy is in touch with their mother and a cousin of theirs, and are talking through them and getting updates. So their condition's been the same for, I believe, 3 days, maybe 4, but I think 3 days, which is good, because a couple days ago I thought they were going to be moving them to intensive care and putting them on a vent, which did not happen. So and they're on day 11 or 12 today. So they haven't gotten better, but they haven't gotten worse either. So they're in that rough patch area. So that's good news. I've been very worried about this person. In fact, I went to sleep last night. My phone rang. It was Steve calling me, asking me about them, which is an unusual thing for Steve to do. I tell you, he's been calling me like several times a day asking about them. But when they're all well, they'll be back here in the chat talking about it. I think they don't want their name said in the chat because they don't want a whole bunch of people trying to get a hold of them and their family and things like that, which I get. But it's somebody that I think 90% of you would know easily that are in here right now, currently. Yeah, I've lost a couple friends this year to COVID, which is pretty tough. A lot of you guys know about Richard Pearl, and which I still can't believe. I'm still in shock about that, Richard Pearl, and another radio talk show host, Dick Farrell, that I didn't know that well. We were acquaintances. You know, we talked through social media. We were acquaintances. Steve actually rented his condo to Dick Farrell many years ago, and he passed. And now this person, I hope, I think they're gonna pull through. I mean, the fact that they haven't, although there's been no change, they haven't declined in 3 days. I take that as a big positive, because I know when I talked to Richard Pearl, it went south, and it went south fast. Oh yeah, I know people that have recovered. My sister-in-law and her family, they had it and they recovered. One of Steve's daughters and her kids and her husband had it and they recovered. I know people that have recovered too, but you know, you still it's concerning. I mean, I know people that have died of AIDS, and I know people that have been living with AIDS for over 20 years. So, you know, when somebody gets something like this and they're hospitalized, you got to worry. You know, you hope for the best, plan for the worst, right? When you got a serious illness like that, you do everything you can do. You know. Yeah, and there's I don't see them in here, so I don't like to out people that have had COVID, that because sometimes people don't want people to know they have had COVID, but there's a nice guy that's in our chat room quite regularly. He and his wife had COVID a while ago. I was really worried about them. I was really worried about them because I talked to him a few times during it, and he was pretty sick, but he pulled through it, and I was very excited. He and his wife. So I know people that have been in both situations, but the thing is, you never know, right? That's why I take so many precautions. My wife has such a serious lung illness that sometimes, like last night, just because of the allergens in the air, it bothers my wife's breathing. Her lung illness is so severe and sensitive, you know. Yeah, so we're going to have a new podcast up this afternoon, so look out for that, guys, later in the day, probably around 6, Kathy and I. You lost your memory for 4 weeks. Well, that might just be part of the aging process. Oh, man. No, but poor Lauren Boebert. You know, what happened is because that other congressman had that anime video from Attack on Titan of him with AOC, and he got into so much trouble. Lauren Boebert was just trying to get in front of it. But that apology is a big, big, big mistake on her part. If I was advising her, I would have said no apology. Stay out of the public eye, because this whole month is a holiday month. So stay out of the public eye till after the first of the year, and by then it would be over. But she apologized, and the apology that I saw on YouTube this morning, the Jim Acosta segment on the Boebert apology, and he didn't do the segment until after she made the apology. They'll still censure her. Yeah, of course they will. The liberals can say and do whatever they want. Everybody else is wearing shorts and I'm wearing a jacket. People are staring like, who's he talking to? What's going on? Kathy's had her illness since before we were married. Yeah. She's had her illness since she was in college. In fact, Kathy and I, so I know most of you probably know this, Kathy and I got married 6 weeks after we met. And about 3-4 weeks after we got married, she was in the hospital. And the doctor diagnosed her and told her she had 2 years to live, and when she got discharged from the hospital, that we should go and make her funeral arrangements. He actually said that in the hospital room. You have no more than 2 years to live, probably less than a year, you start making your funeral arrangements. That was the doctor in the hospital. Can you freaking believe that? And now, of course, next week is our 25th wedding anniversary, so he was wrong. Well, thank you for the $2 super chat, Echo Base Network. Echo Base, of course, is a Star Wars reference, right, from the ice planet of Hoth. What time do I normally go to bed at night? Different times. Usually 9 or 10, but on occasion 8. I don't really go to bed at a particular time. I put the TV on and fall asleep in front of it. Yeah. Three years till we can make America great again. Yeah, I tell you. It's, President Trump did an interview on Fox Business yesterday, and you've got to watch these Republicans. You got to watch these Republicans, that keep talking about DeSantis. They're trying to, I love DeSantis. I want him to be president in 28, but they're really pushing this thing that so many Republicans don't want Trump. That's just not the case. That's just not the case. Yeah, sometimes, like the other night, I've been very busy the last few weeks. I mean, I've been really, really busy working. And I was really exhausted a few days ago, so I went to bed at between 7 and 7:30. I woke up at 1 a.m. My body can only sleep so many hours. Going to bed early, I just wake up at 1 in the morning. It was ridiculous. So I got up and did all my show prep. This was on Thursday morning. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up at 1 a.m. I did all my show prep and everything, which took about 2 hours. And then it was 3 a.m. I get up and shower and everything. And it was 3 a.m. But I'm like, I got 3 hours till showtime. Maybe I should go in and do the show and have them record it from like 4 to 6, right? And just do the first hour. I was like, oh my goodness. My body will only let me sleep so many hours, unfortunately. But no, they're trying to push this thing that Republicans don't want Trump to run, that we want DeSantis. That is not the case. And the Lincoln Project Never Trumpers, that's actually a good tactic for them, because anyone who loves Trump loves Ron DeSantis. Not just because I'm in Florida. I mean, if I were in Alaska, I'd love Ron DeSantis. And if Trump were in the White House right now, we'd be talking about Ron DeSantis, but he's not. So it's not Ron DeSantis' time yet. Well, Nick is right about that. And, Anderson Cooper from the Vanderbilt family is CIA. Dana Bash, she was married to John King. Dana Bash, right? I think that she has a kid with John King from CNN. But her other husband that she got the Bash name for, I guess she was married to him first, was one of the deputy directors of the CIA. So, yeah, of course, you know. The same thing goes for social media and the internet, all created by the deep state, by the government. Oh my goodness, there's a deli. There's a deli here and they don't have bagels. How can you have a deli and not have bagels? Oh my goodness. Wow. A bagel shop with no bagels. Bagel is in the name of the place and they don't have bagels. They're out of bagels. Oh my goodness. They might as well just lock the doors for today because they're going to spend their whole day telling people that they're a bagel shop with bagel in their name that has no bagels. Well, what they don't understand, the never-Trumpers and the media, they don't understand that it's not about just Trump. There's a whole MAGA movement that he is the leader and father of. In fact, don't miss the podcast today because we're going to talk about some things that I know you will enjoy. Hey, UK, how you doing? Don't stop. Tyler lives in Florida. All right, I will tell her about it, Kim. A bagel shop with no bagels. I know. It's crazy. I know. It's insane. I'm in shock that the Parkland police have not run off the homeless guy sleeping on the sidewalk. They must not have come in for their morning coffee yet. There's not a Dunkin' Donuts around here. Oh, man. The villages, I would not move to the villages. I would not move to the villages. I know the villages is very popular and it's a big conservative place, but it is in an awful part of Florida. It is one of the worst parts of Florida to live in. The villages is very far away from the beach. It's in the Ocala area, which is the sticks of Florida, and it's so far north in Florida, it's not considered even part of the tropics. If you look at a map of Florida, find Fort Pierce. That's where the tropics ends, right? I know subtropics. And the villages, more Republicans in the villages per capita than probably any place on earth. But what they have more of than Republicans are mosquitoes. So, you know. Casey Anthony's posing for Playboy. I didn't know that they still put nude women in Playboy. Casey Anthony, she still lives here in South Florida, and you read about her sometimes in the local paper. She's in the garage sailing, Casey Anthony, and people spot and take pictures of her at garage sales all the time. But when President Trump first came to Mar-a-Lago, was president, like the first winter that he came to Mar-a-Lago, there was a big protest of anti-Trump Democrats, and Casey Anthony was one of them, and it was on the local news, and no one in the national news picked up on it. So Casey Anthony hates Trump. She's, I guess she's a Biden girl. She was ready for Hillary. That tells you everything you need to know about the Democrats. Oh, a truck just pulled up with bagels, and these people are shocked. Like, you don't make your own bagels? You bring them in? They're like shocked. They may stop coming here. And Chris Christie knows he's not going to be president or the nominee. He's just trying to be a disruptor. You know, he's a never-Trumper. He's out there causing trouble. You know, and screw Christie. You know, how many Republicans stood by that jerk through all of his crap, right? You know, his Obama hug tells you everything you need to know. You know, I was done with him when he hugged Obama. He didn't have to hug Obama. My goodness. Yeah, how many Republicans stood by him over that bridge gate? Christie is a jerk. Christie is a jerk. And, you know, the media are treating him so well because he's trashing Trump. But say, like, this isn't going to happen, but say that he was like the top contender for the nomination, or he got the nomination, Chris Christie. Not that that's going to happen, but if it did, all of a sudden they turn on him, you know, big time. But now he gets a free pass because he's bashing Trump. Well, I liked Chris Christie when he first became governor, and he would do these town halls and he would challenge people, you know. But he's a jerk. You know, that's just the way it is. He's a complete jerk, a never Trumper, and screw him. You know, he's done. That's why, you know, I always tell people, never trust a never Trumper. And there are people who were never Trumpers that have been reformed, and there's some that I like, but I'm always cautious. And the top two, Candace Owens in 2016 was big anti-Trump, big. I like Candace Owens a lot. I was talking about this great new PragerU video she did, but I'm always a little cautious of her. And the other one's Mark Levin. I love Mark Levin. I was always a big fan of Mark Levin. Mark Levin's parents used to listen to me and Steve on the radio here. They both passed, I think, now. And in fact, his parents are interred, at least if whichever one is passed. I don't know if both of them have passed, but they're in the same place that Steve's final resting place is going to be, believe it or not. But Mark Levin was a big never Trumper. And I got a nasty message from someone not too long ago. I can't remember if it was a DM or a YouTube comment saying he was never a never Trumper. He just supported Ted Cruz. Let me tell you. Now, I was a supporter of Trump back in 2012 when he was first teasing the idea of running for president. And the moment that he came down the escalator, that was it. I thought, before Trump came down the escalator, I thought the guy I was going to be behind was Scott Walker. I like Scott Walker because the Obama machine had that recall and he defeated them. I remember MSNBC, Ed Schultz and all of them were moved and were doing their shows covering that, and then he beat, and I thought, I like Scott Walker. He kicked their ass. But now, you know, as soon as Trump, you know, I was big with Trump. Back in 2012, he was toying around with running, okay? And he went, and there was one, remember he was going around President Trump with asking Obama to produce his birth certificate and all of that, and I was behind him then, and I was talking about him then, and the phones would light up with people hating on Trump. I couldn't believe, I didn't understand it. So I've been with Trump since then. Remember that when he was going after the birth certificate, and he went out to have pizza with Sarah Palin in New York one day. It was pretty cool. And so I was with him always, but when the day he was on the escalator, I was with him. When he was at the top of the escalator, I was jumping up, and that's back when I was on Periscope, and I was streaming on Periscope. When I saw him on the top of the escalator with Melania, I was so excited. Oh my goodness! So I'll be with Trump for life, you know. So Oprah wanted Trump to be president in the 90s. Is that true? Wow. The flannel sheets are awesome. Gotta tell you. Yeah, I came home yesterday and there were no sheets on the bed. Kathy says, okay, we're making the bed. We're putting the flannel sheets on. Well, I remember, like, the first presidential election I voted in was Clinton, Bush, and Ross Perot, and I voted for Ross Perot. And I voted for Ross Perot because he was a lot like Trump. He was a little goofy. But the reason I voted for Ross Perot is during the Iranian hostage crisis, remember some executives that worked for Ross Perot were also captured by the Iranians and were being held hostage. And Ross Perot, out of his own pocket, secretly and probably illegally, he hired mercenaries. I think it was like a retired Green Beret colonel. He hired a team of mercenaries to go into Iran, and they rescued his executives that the Iranians were holding hostage, while Jimmy Carter was sitting around in a sweater turning the heat off in the White House. And I remember that, and they made a movie actually about it. And I did Richard Crenna play Ross Perot? I can't remember who played Ross Perot. Was Richard Crenna in that? I can't remember who played Ross Perot, but I thought that was pretty amazing. That's why I voted for him. But I remember back then, you know, everybody in politics and the media, I was only 20, they'd say, Turkey was awesome, Beverly. They would say, oh, you can't have a businessman as president. You can't run the government like a business. Well, I thought President Trump did a damn good job. You know, Trump said yesterday, when I was in the White House, nobody even talked about the supply chain. The only supply chain problem we had was because of the panic buying of toilet paper. During the height of the pandemic, when the country and the planet was shut down, did anyone do without? It was amazing what he did. You know? And this guy is just a clown, just a corrupt clown. But no, when someone's the supply chain's intentional, well, I think there's a couple things with the supply chain that's going on. One, I think the Democrats are owned by Bezos, Jeff Bezos, and who's obviously got a lot of insecurity problems. You know, a lot of people think, you know, Jeff Bezos' rocket looks like a penis, right? I mean, everybody knows this? And I've heard some people say, oh, the aerospace engineers, they hate Bezos, and they made it look like a penis. No, I think Bezos told them make it look like a penis. That's how pathetic he is, right? But he just gave, how much money did Bezos just give to the Obama Foundation? Can someone, how much was that? You know, and what the supply chain does, it doesn't hurt Bezos, it doesn't hurt Amazon and these big companies like that. It hurts Walmart, and it hurts you know, smaller retailers. And I think they're they're using the supply chain. 100 million. Yeah, was it 100 million? An unheard of, yeah, 100 million. Yeah, it was 100 million. Yeah. The supply, I think it was a lot. It was at least 100 million. For some reason, a 7 popped in my mind, but I don't know. I have to look it up. But regardless of it, they're trying to put out all the other retailers so that Amazon reigns. They're purposely using the supply chain to hurt retailers so that Amazon is all that there is. And also, so that's one thing that's going on. And I also do think that China has a role in it, that it's almost like a blockade around the country. Because I know a lot of people say, well, China doesn't own the ships. But the shipping companies, what does the Obama Foundation do? Make Obama rich, like the Clinton Foundation. It's the same thing. It's Clinton Foundation Part 2. But it's the foundation formerly known as the Clinton Foundation. It's basically the same thing, you know, money laundering operation. It's the car wash in Breaking Bad. Yeah, 100 million. What the hell is Obama going to do with 100 million? Make himself richer. But it's a lot of people say, well, China doesn't own these ships. They're an independent company, blah, 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 blah. But their biggest client, the biggest amount of business they get is from China. So China has control over the shipping fleet. So it's the two things. You know, it's trying to make Amazon number one, put the brick and mortars out of business, and also China. You know, there's a war going on between us and China, you know, with this supply chain and everything else that's going on. So that's, you know, those are the two factors. And I don't know why more people don't talk about that, but that's what is going on. Sidney Powell, yeah, well, Sidney Powell, they're going to cancel her from society. I mean, she's, you know. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Andrea. That's exactly right. and we just got to accept that. It's happened. So we need Trump. We've got a great bench after Trump, like DeSantis, and we haven't seen the end of Don Jr. I think, I'll tell you what I think, and I don't know if anybody's predicted this yet. After Ron DeSantis, okay, because Ron DeSantis is up for re-election, and he's running for re-election, and it's a 4-year term, and Florida governors have two term limits. I think Don Jr. is going to run for governor of Florida after DeSantis. Now, there might be some overlap. I don't know exactly, because I don't think he's going to be Trump's vice president, because they're from the same state, and the establishment was not going to allow that. But he's definitely going to run, and the likely nominee in 2028. But that's when his second term is up. And I think Don Jr. has lived here in Florida for quite some time. Kim Guilfoyle has a mansion next door. And I think he's going to run for governor of Florida, Don Jr. I really do. And that'll be amazing. Florida is on the road to becoming the most populated state. And we're not overcrowded. Florida's people don't realize how big Florida is and how much empty space we have in Florida. Florida is a massive, massive state. And I think we're number 2 in population now, but we're going to be number 1. And it's a very strong Republican state. So now Don Jr. He may not be the governor right after Ron DeSantis, because if Ron DeSantis might leave to become vice president, he might leave for this, who knows, and then his lieutenant governor might take over. But Don Jr., I think his path is to become the governor of Florida. And you've heard me talk a lot about this on the podcast. Most presidents, there's exceptions to the rule, most presidents, though, throughout time come from the governors, because they have executive experience, and people hate Congress people. But that would be amazing. Governor Don Jr. Jamaica was sold out to China? Yeah. Really? Well, I'll be in Jamaica in January. You guys should come on the cruise if you can, January 21st. Jamaica is one of our stops. Oh. Well, that's what's going on in the world, though. Barron for a future president? I don't know. Oh, hey, Kathy. My wife is up. I don't stream from home in the mornings because I don't want to wake Kathy up. So I come out and get coffee, and then I stay here usually and stream. Kathy's up. So I talked at the beginning of the stream. I've been up since 3:30, and I came in and I drove by Taco Bell, and I was like craving tacos. So I went to Taco Bell. They're not open. They open at 7. So I would have been here drinking coffee and eating tacos, but I don't know if I'm going to get tacos on the way home or not. I'm not craving them as much as I was when I was coming here. Oh, well, that's great, Andrea. Good morning, Kathy. No, the homeless man left. Hey, Boston. How's it going? If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Kathy and I have a new podcast that we will upload later in the day. So make sure you're subscribed. And everyone, make sure that you have the notifications checked, too. A lot of people message me. They don't get notifications. So make sure you have the notifications checked. AOC, will she be old enough to be president in 24? How old is she now? she'd have to be 35 by Inauguration Day. Is that how it works? Yeah, I was talking about that at the beginning of the stream, Kathy. Lauren Boebert should never have apologized. Yeah. She screwed up by apologizing. She got some very bad advice. She panicked and apologized. Check out your Star Wars channel. Okay. I told you Echo Base is the rebel base on the ice planet of Hoth at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back. Oh. I don't know why, David. She's a strong leader. Leader of what? What's AOC a strong leader of? It's, you know, it's amazing how much of an airhead AOC is. You know, and there's nothing funnier than someone who's stupid who thinks they're brilliant, you know? Why the evangelical Christian hate minorities? I wasn't aware that they did. You have an example of that, Lane Newsom? Is that Lane or Lame? No, Lane. I see the... Okay. In fact, the black community are a church-going group that are members of evangelical churches. That doesn't even make sense. You know, I love how these liberals, all they do is racially, ethnically, and religiously stereotype, you know, white people and conservatives, right? But we're the bigots, they say. It is nice here, isn't it? It is very nice. Yeah, I'm in Parkland, which is, you know, where the Parkland shooting happened. This is Nicholas Cruz's Starbucks, can you believe? Now it's getting busy. Now the bagel shop not having bagels has become a shock to some of the people coming here. Is there a difference? What did Kathy say? Oh, you guys would love Florida. The squad's racist. Well, aren't most Democrats these days racist? Really? I talked to the beginning of the stream, and if you missed it, there's a great new PragerU video that you've got to see with Candace Owens, talking about the modern day Democrat slave plantation, comparing it to the slave plantations before the Civil War. It is brilliant. Justice Democrats are putting activists at all levels of government. They really started doing that mostly with Obama. Obama filled so many bureaucratic jobs up with radicals. Well, yeah. I do like AOC's Instagram live streams, though. She doesn't do them as often as she used to because she, you know, when she first went to Washington, she would do these, AOC would do these Instagram live streams drinking wine in her apartment, and she'd be a little tipsy. It was hilarious. Hilarious. While she was putting together IKEA furniture. Well, you know, Lauren Boebert, when she went after Ilhan Omar in that floor speech a week or two ago, and that's when they started targeting her, because Ilhan Omar is their future, you know. Are any of you people that back in when you park? I hate back in parkers. It seems so inconvenient. I never back in when I park. I just pull straight in. There's a lot of, it's 2 in a row, back in parkers. I know it's easier to get out, but isn't it harder to back in than it would be to back out? I don't know. I haven't been to Ruth Chris in so long. I don't even know if we have a Ruth Chris here. You got a big truck? It seems it's easier to back out than to back in. To me, you know. You back into your garage? You always back in, really. I wonder if, now this will sound ridiculous, but I wonder if Republicans are more likely to back in than pull in to back out. It's not harder. All right. It's the same either way. Most men back in. Kathy drinks decaf. This has 4 shots of espresso in it, so I don't know if it says on the side if it has 4 shots, but but it does have 4 shots in it. Yeah, I got up early this morning. And I usually have my coffee early, and because I didn't, around 5:15, I was starting to get withdrawals. So, came here and got it. Well, cops back in because they don't want to, they need to be able to get out quick and fast, and I guess, and not get blocked in. It's harder to, if somebody blocks you in and you're backed in, driving forward is probably easier than backing out. I would guess. It's 29 in Tennessee. It's not really cold here. I really don't need the jacket. I thought it was colder. I checked the temperature, and my phone gave me the temperature in Orlando, and I thought it was the temperature here, but because I went outside, I'm like, I really don't need the jacket, but I was locked out, so I kept it on. If I drank decaf, I wouldn't be able to do the show if I drank decaf. I am so addicted to coffee. I've cut my coffee back a lot, though. I was drinking a lot more coffee. I've cut back about in half. They had self-parking cars not that long ago. Remember Lexus came out with cars that could parallel park themselves? And that seemed to have fizzled out like 3D TV. Oh, man. Yeah. And even getting the coffee late on Saturdays, like I did today, it'll throw me off. It'll throw me off for the rest of the day if I don't get the coffee just at the right time. Anyway, guys, I have finished my coffee. Right. All gone. It's a big cup, 4 shots of espresso. I got to head home, but look for our podcast later today, and if you haven't, like the video before you go, all right, guys?